Today, I realize that I've made the best decision in my life to come to New Zealand for the justice served in regards to this issue. And at the same time, to let everyone knows, American, European, Asian, African, wherever you come from, the part of the world, we were born the same way we were born, we live the same way, and we die the same way. There is no difference between any one of us. Your identity, your behavior differentiates you. When you are good, then you are the best. When you care for life, you are the best. Doesn't matter what color you are. What level are you? I may be a street sweeper. You may be in the toppest building as a director. If your heart is not clean over there, you are the worst. And if this man sweeping the street is the best, his heart is clean, is the best human being. So today, I thank this country, the people of New Zealand, and the entire everyone around the world, that please always choose the best in your life, to be kind, clean from inside. Clean from inside, you will remain the best till you die. Thank you very much.
We thank New Zealand people, and especially the Christchurch community. We thank everyone for supporting us. The terrorists throw us with a bullet, and the loving people of New Zealand and Christchurch, they throw us with a flower. So we thank every one of them very much, and we thank you, the whole judiciary system of New Zealand. Justice is done. As Imam says, no justice is enough for those one, they lost their family member and loved one, but at least something is done that take the pain and take the load we had in our heart from us. So we thank the media for reporting, and we thank everyone in Christchurch, in all around the world, in New Zealand. Terrorism doesn't have, as I said in my court impact statement, terrorism doesn't have language, race, color. Anyone can be a terrorist. So we are not terrorists. We are loving people. We are the same as any person here in New Zealand. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. What happened on 15th March 2019 here was not only an attack on the Muslims of New Zealand, but the country as a whole. The diverse culture of New Zealand was attacked that day. I'd also like to commend my community in which dignified way they held up throughout the trial process. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. Here everyone. Last 4 days was the toughest day of my life, and I believe it was the same for almost everyone here. But I'm happy it ended up with happiness and justice. We respect the justice system of our country. We prove that there is no place for hate or terrorism, and inshallah will be an example for the rest of the world that there is no place in this world for hatred and terrorism. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Muhammad Jama. Today we are very happy on behalf of the whole Muslims of New Zealand. Today we will back of the justice of the New Zealand. We are happy with the result in here. Whole Muslim community very successful and very happy for the all people, shuhada, the people passed away families, the people for the injury, and the people for the rheumatism. All of them today in the court with the decision, very happy. And we are also supporting for the whole New Zealand society starting on 15 June up to today in here. We are supporting. We are all of them. Thank you very, very much. And we will back the name of the peace and the safety is the New Zealand. That man he knew for the divided, like not that one. We need the unity, work together for all of them. And we are new model to showing for the whole in the world. Before we are showing before work together, no fighting. You're looking for the whole 4 days, no protesting, no against it, no anybody, all the peace, all together. And now look, all happy for the society in New Zealand, all Muslim happy, and all the people in Canterbury and all New Zealand society everywhere. All in the world, we learning how to peace and New Zealand #1 in the world. Thank you very much, all of them.
Thank you very much.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Kia ora koutou. Thank you from the deepest place in my heart to all New Zealanders, all Kiwis, all Maoris, all good people across the world. We are here today because we do respect all what you did for us, compassion, support, the strength that we gain from you, and love. There's no hatred can reflect the thing that we went through. But this country has no place for hatred, but only for love. Yes, I lost my brother-in-law, but I have more than 4 million brothers and sisters in this country. Tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa.
Hello, my name is Taj Mohammed Kamran. Thank you about government of New Zealand. Today I am not taking painkiller because I am today very happy. The tourist is also tourist. Every time tell, hey, the Muslim is tourist. Today show he is also tourist. Yeah, thank you so much for government of, thank you Maori and Kiwi. Thank you so much all New Zealand. The Christchurch people, I love Christchurch. I live in 15 years Christchurch. I too much love in Christchurch. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, feel free.
Yeah. Okay,
If
if you want.
it's tangled up, I don't mind.
I don't know. Anybody want anything? I don't know. They're all. Do you want a word?
I'll hopefully grab a word.
Any reaction from the terrorist himself?
There was absolutely nothing. We just sat in court and listened to the judge. He read out the events of that day, which happened at the very start of the sentencing, but in a very kind of, I don't know, like a calculated kind of way. But today the judge recounted what had happened, but paid homage to each and every one of the victims, told us who they were and the impact that their deaths had had on their friends and families. It was incredibly moving. As each person's family member was mentioned in the gallery, I looked over, you could see their family members just break down and cry. I don't know if you can tell in my voice, but I'm struggling to hold it together myself actually, because it's quite a full-on experience. But for the shooter, the gunman himself, nothing. There's been absolutely nothing. And then the judge mentioned this in his sentencing remarks. He said that he had shown no remorse. There was mention of a health assessment that he was given in the past few months, where he said he actually was remorseful, that he had changed his mind, that the actions that day were driven by depression, that he felt isolated, ostracized by society, and he was seeking revenge. However, the Crown prosecutor and the judge both said, noted in the psychologist reports that they didn't know how reliable this turn and his attitude was. And the judge mentioned the fact that his crimes were so extreme that it was doubtful that he could all of a sudden, and we're only talking April 24 when he had this change of heart. The judge said it was unreliable, and you couldn't really guarantee what he was saying was the truth.
I'm speaking with Conan Young, our RNZ reporter in Christchurch. Stay there, Conan. I'm just going to read this news just through. Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern has acknowledged the strength of the Muslim community. She says nothing will take the pain away, but she hopes they felt the arms of New Zealand around them through this process. And she says she hopes today is the last day that the terrorist's name is uttered. Conan, I remember talking to you on that day in March 15, 2019, and people will understand how you're feeling at the moment because you were there. You were one of the first on the scene. How does it feel to have, closure's perhaps the wrong word, but a bit of an end to this episode?
Yeah, I've had the absolute privilege of getting to know a lot of the people who have been most affected by these shootings over the past year and a bit. And I've seen many of these people just now and asked them how they feel. And they feel as if a great weight has been lifted from them. This has been a really heavy weight to carry. But it will go on, for these people. This is just another step, I think, in that journey. And as the judge himself mentioned today, the acts of this man were so wicked that even if he spent the rest of his life in prison, it wouldn't make up for what he has done and the hurt that he has caused. So, yes, another step along the way today. But I think what we saw yesterday was an extraordinary number of people who were not going to address the court, were not going to give these victim impact statements that you would have heard, that the listeners would have heard over the last few days. Originally, we were going to hear about 70. We had an extra 24 people come forward yesterday who were encouraged by hearing, some of their friends
had done. And I think I can do no better than actually reflect back on that. They were the ones who stood in court and said that the offender achieved the opposite of what he intended because they have come out as a community stronger. They have come out as a community supported by New Zealand. And so I think they've done the job of sharing directly exactly what happened as a consequence of this terrorist act.
What are those details in the court case, the first time that they've been brought into the public? Did you know any of the details of the amount of planning that went into this attack, the amount of modification of the weapons?
Yes, yeah, there were details that I was privy to, yes.
Getting all of that in the public now?
I think there comes probably a point where there's not, there's very few additional things that could make an act seem any more despicable than it already was. What we've seen are extra layers and details around an already horrific, despicable act. There is a certain degree, of course, that the more you learn, the more you realise just how much thought, and that in itself is pretty horrific to know, how much went into causing this devastation. But for some of us, we're aware of that. Any other questions? Thank you.